What is going on, Trash Talkers? We are back with another episode for you. In today's video, we're going to give you our season preview for the Dallas Cowboys. All that and much more coming your way right now! All right, before we get into today's video, be sure to hit that subscribe button and like the video as it will help us out tremendously. So sit back, relax, and enjoy today's video. All right, Nick, with the 2022 NFL season fast approaching, we have another season preview to get to. Today, we're going to be talking about them boys, the Dallas Cowboys. And that's right, the Dallas Cowboys coming off of a fresh division win, looking to turn things up this season. But when you take a look at this team, it's going to look a lot different on the football field, as when you take a look at some of their key additions that they brought on, you look at Tyler Smith, the big offensive tackle out of Tulsa, you look at Dante Fowler, the big edge rusher coming from the Atlanta Falcons, and James Washington coming in at wide receiver. The problem is, the losses definitely outweigh the additions when you take a look at Amari Cooper, La'el Collins, and Connor Williams just headlining the massive list of losses that this team is dealing with. It is not a pretty sight. The draft really did them no service this year. And Dallas Cowboys fans, it's going to be one hell of a ride this season. Nick, when we take a look at the schedule, when we take a look at the Dallas Cowboys roster as a whole, this is definitely something that we're going to have to pay attention to, as this is not the same team that we had last year or even the year prior. And Nick, I want to throw it over to you. Looking at the schedule, weeks 1 through 6, how does it fare for the Dallas Cowboys starting out the season?
Yeah, well, the Dallas Cowboys did not make a lot of improvements, and their losses are going to be big factors going into the season. And when we look at the first 6 weeks, we have the Dallas Cowboys going 2-4 to start the year, starting off against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers once again in week 1. They now take on Tom Brady yet again with a much improved Tampa Bay Buccaneers roster now under Todd Bowles. We now see Dallas Cowboys without Amari Cooper, without that elite offensive line, trying to go and do the same thing they did last year. And they came close last year, but that's when they had Amari Cooper. That's when they had this strong offensive line. The Buccaneers are not going to let it get that close again. Tom Brady is not going to make the same mistakes. And knowing this roster, knowing what they played up against last year, Tom Brady's going to make the adjustments going into this matchup, and it's not going to be as competitive. This edge rush is going to get to Dak a lot. The run game for the Cowboys will not be able to get going with how big they are up front on the Buccaneers' defensive front line. And it's just not going to be a good way to start the season. And as we progress through week 2, another loss, and then they finally get a reprieve in week 3 when they take on their division rival New York Giants, who added big weapons in the draft in Kayvon Thibodeau and Evan Neal on that left side of the offensive line. Big upgrades, but going up against the Dallas Cowboys under Mike McCarthy, that veteran knowledge is going to play a factor, and these young guys are going to struggle. Week 3 is going to be a great way for the Dallas Cowboys to light a fire under this offense.
Moving on to the next 6 weeks of the schedule, surely it's got to be better for Dallas Cowboys fans. And if you look at it, yes, of course it is. Taking a look at weeks 7 and 8, you have the Lions and the Bears. This should be easy wins for this team. They should be able to beat up on the less talented teams throughout the NFC and on their schedule. So week 7 and 8, giving them wins. Week 9 bye, and then we go right into week 10, a big time win over the Green Bay Packers in Lambeau Field. This is not an easy feat, but the only team more decimated than the Dallas Cowboys this offseason was the Green Bay Packers, losing key contributors on both sides of the football. This is going to be one hell of a matchup, and I just believe in Dak Prescott, Ezekiel Elliott, and this offense to be able to get things going against the Green Bay Packers. This will be a massive win and a huge victory for the Dallas Cowboys as they progress throughout the season. Taking a look at week 11, though, they fall right back into their ways, taking on the Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings are one of those teams that really improved this offseason, adding Zadarius Smith to this pass rush and really focusing on getting this offensive line situated. The Minnesota Vikings have done what it takes to compete with the top lines of the NFC, and this is where we see the Cowboys faltering once again, going 1-4 with a bye week in the next 6 games, bringing their entire total to 6-5, over 500 heading into the final stretch of the 2022 NFL season.
And then going to the last 6 weeks of the season, improving even more, going 10-7 to end the year, going 4-2 in that last 6 stretch. And we started off in week 13 against the Indianapolis Colts. Jonathan Taylor was a big reason why this Colts team got as far as they did last season, and he's going to be an even bigger part this season. He is going to be the guy to stop in this matchup. And when you look at the defensive front of the Dallas Cowboys, they are not as big as they need to be. They are lean. They are ready to be a pass rush. That's not going to help them in this matchup, and Jonathan Taylor will be the reason the Indianapolis Colts are able to get one over on the Dallas Cowboys in week 13. But then as we go on, a 4-game win streak, and in that win streak in week 16, we see the Dallas Cowboys take on the Philadelphia Eagles, a much improved roster, and a team that is going to be vying for the #1 seed in the NFC. If you took a look at our Eagles season prediction video yesterday, but the Philadelphia Eagles taking on the Dallas Cowboys in week 16 is going to be a very good day for the Dallas Cowboys. Seeing this roster once before earlier in the season is going to play a big part. Dak Prescott, Ezekiel Elliott, CeeDee Lamb, big contributors that will be a massive part in this win for the Dallas Cowboys. And Mike McCarthy, being a longtime veteran coach in the NFL, knows how to rebound in these types of games. And this will be a big win for the Dallas Cowboys.
At the end of the season, 10-7 is not exactly what the Dallas Cowboys were looking for, especially coming off of that division win that they had last year. But the Philadelphia Eagles are one of the most improved teams in the NFL, and with them leading the division at 14-3, as we predicted yesterday, the Dallas Cowboys will surely be able to make a playoff spot. It will just have to come through the wild card. Nonetheless, the Dallas Cowboys know what's in store for them as they head toward the playoffs. But as you take a look at the rest of this series, we will figure out where exactly the Cowboys fall in the seeding and who they will be facing week 1 of the playoffs. All right, well, that's going to be all for now. Thank you all for watching. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit that notification bell. We go live every single day. That'll be all. Peace and love.